Hello, fifth grade. Welcome back. What I'm going to do today is I'm just going to walk over some of these topics that are going to show up on the Rome test. So everything you see here is not necessarily a question that you have to answer and send to me or anything like that. What you need to do is go back through the notes and go back through the things we've been doing through this whole unit and look back and see if you have the information that would go with these topics or these questions. Okay. And I'll give you a few hints here as to what they're talking about. But everything on this list that is in white is going to show up on the test. Everything that's in red, you don't have to worry about. The things that are in red are things that we didn't get to or things that we had to kind of skip over due to time constraints. So the only things that are going to be possibly on the test would be in white. Okay, so the very first one is geographic advantages. Now, there's a couple things to this that we talked about, but one is the actual geographic advantage or location of the country of what today is Italy. So that could be a geographic advantage. Another geographic advantage is if you go back into your notes and when we talked about how they expanded the empire and how they included little forts along the way, along hillsides and next to rivers and things of that nature. So if you can go back in your notes and find that page where you kind of drew those little scenarios, that could also go with geographic advantages. The facts about patricians and plebeians are exactly what they say. So if you go back into the notes where we talked about the plebeian class and the patrician class and kind of things they could or could not do in Roman society, I'm going to pull a few questions from that. The fourth one down, what is the Roman Republic? Kind of goes along with the patricians and plebeians, but what exactly is a republic versus, when we later get to the Roman Empire? So there's a very specific difference. George Washington and Cincinnatus, we talked about both of those leaders, but you basically just want to know what is similar about them. We made a chart that kind of talked about George Washington and Cincinnatus individually and both kind of comparatively together. So you want to just kind of look over that thing again because I'm just going to pull a few questions about the George Washington Cincinnatus stuff. Punic Wars, there's a lot of information that you guys wrote down about the Punic Wars. Just know that you should look over them again, see who Rome was fighting at the time, and maybe what were the results of the wars. And that's going to be where those questions come from. The first triumvirate here is pretty straightforward. Who was in it? So you're going to have to know who was in the first triumvirate. And then what was kind of the result? How long did it last necessarily, or did it last very long, I should say? And what was the result of it eventually obviously breaking apart? The killing of Julius Caesar. I'm not going to ask a whole lot about it, but was it popular? Was it unpopular? And then you tell me why. Okay. So if you felt like it was a popular event, then you're going to have to come up with evidence as to why. If you felt like it was a very unpopular event, then you're also going to have to give me evidence as to why you think that. Leads me to the second triumvirate. So who was in that one and what was the result of that one? And I'm skipping over this red one here because, again, the red ones we don't really need. But last but not least is what we just got done talking about, which is the fall of the Roman Empire. Just look back over your list of factors. And of course, with your factors, you have what you thought would be essentially reasons that it would cause problems. So your explanations that went with it. And that's fine too. Okay. So again, the test over all this is going to happen on Thursday. All the questions are going to come from information related to what you guys see on the list. So if, again, you have to go back and listen to this again or pause it or go back in your notebook or even go back in the Google Classroom if you think you missed a day or you think you missed some information, and just look at the titles and see what we were talking about on those specific days. So again, everything on here has the potential of being on there in multiple different ways and multiple different questions. And the test over all this is going to happen Thursday. Uh, for this, you don't have to turn anything in, right? So this review, you don't have to answer them on a piece of paper and email them to me. None of that has to happen, but you just need to make sure that you go back in your notes so that you have all the information that would be relevant and hopefully study up on it a little bit, and you should just do perfectly fine. Okay. As always, I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, and we will talk to you very soon.